You've had quite an interesting journey in the past specifically the past year and a half.
Yeah.
Why did you open a gym?
This is actually my third go at it.
Yeah.
I thought this was two.
No, this is my third go at it. When I first got my black belt in 2005, I was trying to figure out my life. I was married, I had a kid, and I was trying to save money to buy a home, but I'm like, I want to try this out, on the side, as a side business, as a part-time thing. And, typically, like most people, black belts, who originally want to venture into the business side of things, they don't know anything about it, and then I was naive, and I was like, how difficult can it be? You set up a lease, you open the academy, get some mats, do some advertising, bam, right? Not quite, not quite. I learned a lot of harsh lessons. I was only open for a year. I had a couple of misfortunes, one misfortune, and then one thing that I had to make a hard decision. I was working full time and trying to do this part time. That was the first mistake. You can't be part time in this. I think, if you're really going to be successful at it, it's got to be a full time job. That's my opinion. The second thing is I got into a car accident.
Oh.
And, that comes with some costs because it was, at the time was deemed my fault and all this other stuff. So I'm like, oh, damn. But the final nail on the coffin where I was like, okay, I can't do this, was my lovely wife got pregnant with our second child. And I just couldn't justify okay, I'm literally working full time to keep an academy open. That doesn't make sense, right? But it was good. It's not a bad thing. Everything is just lessons. I learned a lot from that experience. Plus, I still have students today that are with me that started with me at that academy, and then they followed me, along on the next journey. So after a year, I closed. I couldn't do it. And again, I was just naive about understanding the business side of things. So I went back, and luckily for me, I had a really good professor, Professor Shafrango. He really helped me out back in the day, and he was really supportive. So he's like, okay, don't worry about it. Just come back, train at where I was training before. And he gave me the opportunity to teach some classes there. And then, some of my students followed me there and trained there. Then a few years later, my former Taekwondo instructor, Norman Shore, he called me and says, I'm opening a little academy over here. Do you want to just do a smaller jiu-jitsu program? And I'm like, yeah, I can give that a try. So I started teaching 2 times a week at one location, and then 2 times a week at my professor's location.
And this, just for clarification, this is the old location at Egg West and Dufferin. This is the start of the second location.
No, we were at. I was doing it part time, so it wasn't actually an official my business.
Got you.
Right, it wasn't officially my business. It was just he was letting me teach there, and we had an agreement where I got paid a percentage of the memberships. But I wasn't really advertising or anything like that, or running a business per se. And that was on Marley Street. It was a very small little spot, half of this mat. That was it. It was as big as it was. But then, I was, that's many, many years, from the first location, many, many years after. I wasn't really, I had a good full-time job. I got paid well, but I was very, very, very passionate about martial arts. I was heavily, heavily involved in the jiu-jitsu scene, and a lot of my students at the time competed. Some of them are still black belts today, Aviado, Milk, they're black. They were competing back then, and I was just coaching part-time. And I was like, man, it's one of those interesting things, midlife crisis kind of thing, right? I was 35 years old, and I'm like, and then of course I have the most incredible wife. She's incredibly supportive and very, very positive individual. So I'm like, listen, I want to take a year off. I took a year off from my regular job, And, you know, I was just teaching, trying to figure out, okay, you know, do I want to do this full time or not? I spoke with her, and then I spoke with the gentleman, Norman, and we decided to, okay, let's open something together full time, and that's the one on Dufferin Street.
Got you.
And we were there for 7 years. You know, we were there for 7 years, and that was an official business. Like that was an official business.
So you were two separate entities just running out of the same building, so to
Yeah,
speak.
exactly.
Got you.
Yeah. So that was an official business. We had a really, you know, a decent agreement. At first, it was very difficult. You know, we agreed to certain things, but it wasn't working out. You know, and I don't want to throw him under the bus, but it got into one of those situations where it just didn't work out so well. And then we had to renegotiated, and that's when I took full control of my program, and that's when the academy started to grow like crazy, you know. And then they got to a point, it's like, okay, I can't grow more than this. And I've always in the 7 years that I was there, I was always looking for a better situation where, again, remember what I said earlier, I don't like the part-time thing. And for this gentleman, it was a part-time thing, right? He had a full-time job. And that's where it caused a lot of problems. You know, he wasn't invested in it as much as I was.
Half measures versus just taking full measures.
Right. So, and then, luckily for me, about you know, a year and a half ago, I was very fortunate to speak with one of my black belts, Ram, who we had spoken before about it briefly, but he was like, you know, I got this thing going on over here, and if you're interested, you know, I have the means. I'm like, fantastic. We came to an agreement and then got the ball rolling. And it was so fast, you know, like literally so fast. In the sense, no, what I meant was like, we agreed, okay, we're gonna do this like in, I believe it was like end of summer, you know, August, September, I believe.
2018, 2019.
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah.
And then, okay, let's go check out some places, right? See where we are on the, you know, how much and space-wise and blah, blah, blah. You're not gonna believe, but this was the second location we looked at. And we're looking around, like, it's pretty much move-in ready. We just make a couple adjustments, you know, and then it just, okay, we got this, no problem. It was very reasonably priced. And then everything was, you know, we were very, very fortunate. We got very lucky with, you know, the right people, the right time. And like, we got the mats at a good deal. And then we met another gentleman, like Chris Bell, who hooked us up with the wall mats and all that, right? So he was like, again, came into our, you know, our space at the right time, and it just boom, and it worked out great. We got a good deal on the mats. 2 times, like we got a good deal on the mats from one place, and then we got a good deal on the mats from another place. So we were able to mat the whole venue. We got a really good friend of mine, Ocasio, from Barrie, to help us out with the washrooms and setting up all of the change rooms and all that. So we really lucked out there because he helped us out a lot with that.
When you say that, you mean like during actual physical renovations?
Yeah. Because, you know, you bring in a contractor and they want ridiculous money.
Right.
And literally for, you know, just the cost of materials and stuff, we were able to through, you know, this amazing person's help to get this done. And then, you know, and then we've just, boom, signed the lease, 2 months to set it up, a lot of work, a lot of work. Yeah. You know, you gotta do a lot of painting and installing, and it took 2 months to get it set up, and then boom, January 1st, we were up and running. I was blown away by the support. So pretty much 90% of the student base I had at the other location came over and joined up.
It's not an exaggeration, like 90. Like
yeah.
90%.
Yeah.
What was your original, like when you and we were discussing this, what was your ballpark estimate? Like how much did you expect to actually transition?
Well, that's normal. It's very normal. You lose about 10, whenever you lose move locations, you always, like any martial arts academy, you move locations, even if it's close, you lose 10 to 15%.
Okay. Oh, so
that's
average, right? Okay.
Yeah, so we averaged out. So,
okay.
So it was perfect. We had a lot of course incentives, and we gave them, you know, some an ideal situation to come. And then of course when they walk in the door and they see that's another level, right?
Yeah, clearly.
More professional, clean, bigger, more classes. It was an easy sell.
One of the first things I noticed, like the pro shop right in the lobby, was like.
Yeah, so we didn't have that
touch.
before, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have an opportunity to have a pro shop. Now we do. Beautiful lobby, right? It was pretty much move-in ready. It was great, and it just boom, 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 boom. Almost didn't give us a chance to take it all in. You know what I mean? I still haven't really absorbed all of it, and it's been a year and a bit because it's just been go, 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 right? And it comes down to learn. And during the 7 years that I was at that location, I was educating myself as much as I could on the business side of the martial arts industry. And I was lucky to meet some people that helped me out, and I went to a couple of courses, and I went to a couple of seminars and things like that, and I learned a lot. And I've been like kind of accumulating that information, right, until I found the right person. Luckily I found Ram, because I always knew that it's a lot of work for one person. Like to open a gym, an academy by yourself, if you're the one running classes and the front end, it's too much. It's overwhelming. It's really, really is overwhelming. And even like I have two, myself and Ram, and it's still overwhelming. It's a lot of work. It gets better. You implement systems and do all this other stuff. It starts to get easier.